wherever you're at the right place. You know, wherever you're at, believe that. And if you feel alone, just know that God is with you. And God hears and listens to everything we feel, we say, we hear, our thoughts. And just pray for that guidance. I teach a bit of manifesting as well. Now I'm going into that because I manifested everything I wanted to manifest in my life. And one of the things is faith, is having faith. And that's very, very important, moving forward. Yeah, like knowing that there's a reason why you're here today, at this place, at this point. So instead of, you can either panic and worry about it, or you can listen and understand what are the lessons here. I'm here because, okay? And only when you learn the lesson can you move forward.
Why don't you join me? 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, oh, oh. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm Karaleigh Garrison, a singer-songwriter, motivational speaker, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life. I created this podcast because I believe really deeply that we can learn from one another's stories and experiences. I'm willing to bet that just about all of us have been through some really, really tough things. And not only is it therapeutic for us to be able to talk about these darkest times in our lives, but the lessons that we've learned and the resilience we've shown can help everyone around us weather their own storms from higher ground. On the Seeking Sunshine podcast, we don't shy away from difficulty and trauma, but we always look for the sunshine in it. It's my personal belief that there are blessings in every trial and trials in every blessing. I use this Seeking Sunshine mantra every single day to change my perspective when things start going wrong and getting frustrating, which they often do because I have 3 kids with special needs. And I can tell you that it has transformed my life. And I hope, and that's the whole point of this podcast, that it can transform your life too. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful May day. It's the very tail end of May, and I just can't believe how fast this month has flown by. What's amazing about today is it's actually my youngest's birthday, my baby Benjamin. He's not so much of a baby anymore, as today is his 9th birthday. It is actually birthday week at our house. Benjamin's 9, and just 5 days ago, my oldest Aurora turned 13. So we have so much partying going on. It's been so much fun. Oh, and then also as a reminder, my album Seeking Sunshine came out last Tuesday, so that was really fun too. We just have so much awesome stuff going on. So if you are wanting to check out that album, it's available everywhere. There was a little teeny mess up, and it is not available on Apple iTunes, which is the same thing, but it's available everywhere else. You can find it on YouTube, on Spotify, on Bandcamp, on everywhere else that you might want to listen. So I would love it if you would check that out. You could totally, you could wish my son happy birthday or my daughter happy birthday. It's just that time of year at our house where we have all the birthdays and all the awesome stuff lining up. So Today we have a really awesome interview that I'm so excited to share with you. You're going to get so much amazingness out of it. Today we've got the amazing Tina Saad. She is also a mom. She's got two beautiful kids. She's an empowerment coach, an entrepreneur, and a motivational speaker. And there is so much goodness in this episode. I know you're going to love it. So if you find something awesome in it, please share it, spread the word. There's a lot to love in this episode. So without further ado, here is Tina Saad. Hi, Tina. I'm so excited to have you today on the Seeking Sunshine podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this too. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive right in. I want to hear all about you and your story and how you became an entrepreneur and a mom and all the things.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm Tina. I'm the mom of two amazing kids. They're my everything. And quite honestly, like part of the story is a sad thing that happened. I was a housewife, I'd work occasionally, like I used to teach classroom, never thought it was going to be past being in a classroom and raising my kids and, becoming a grandmother eventually. Um, but what happened is my kids were hurt. So, my daughter was sexually molested, and that kind of was a big wake up call for me. And the thing is, everyone around me wanted me to stay hush and keep quiet and not talk about things. Culturally, it was unacceptable for me to talk about it. Because my daughter was a girl, it was, kind of taboo to talk about it. And I struggled with that. I struggled with that a lot as a mom.
Yeah, because that's
And
not okay.
it's not okay, and then you'd hear people tell you stories like this mother, this happened to her daughter. She stayed, stay. What are you going to do? How are you going to survive? How are you going to make ends meet? At the end of the day, you decide what voice are you going to let in and what decision you're going to make. And when my daughter came forward with what she came forward with, it was like, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to do the right thing. And at that point, I packed my bags, told my ex-husband goodbye. And technically, I was still unemployed. I left without a job. And I was working as a teacher, and then COVID hit. So this was
So
2019.
this wasn't very long ago. And goodness gracious, like to go through that, like the bravery on her end and your end, like it's incredible to look at that and go, like, I don't know how old she was, but it doesn't really matter at any
She
age.
didn't,
At any
it
age.
happened when she Exactly. It happened when she was 5 or 6, but she
Okay.
only told me about 10 years later, a
Okay.
decade later, And, with kids of sexual abuse, if you go into this, they really take very long to disclose. Some of them never do, and things like this. So technically, COVID was maybe one of the best things that happened because I struggled financially. I struggled keeping the job because my son was young. I couldn't leave him at home, things like this, um, and it was just a big, big struggle. And then what happened is because of the online lockdown, I got exposed to coaching. Never heard of it before. So I
Ah.
decided to try it out because to me, it's not therapy. Coaching is not therapy, but it was the closest thing to therapy I could think of. And it was the best thing I ever did for myself. So, and what happened then in 2021, I got fired from my last job and I broke down. I hit rock bottom. I was like crying in bits. What am I going to do? And my best friend looked at me. She's like, maybe this is a sign from God that working for someone is not the right thing for you. And I'm like, I've never done anything different ever. I turned 50 this year, by the way. So
Well,
for
you are
me, it was
gorgeous.
like,
You don't look your age.
thank you. Thank you. But you know how scary it is at this age. And this is another thing I want to tell anyone who's listening. It doesn't matter when you have to start again. It really doesn't matter. So, but it was scary and I was scared, at my age, no savings, nothing, no job. I couldn't keep a job even if I tried. So one of the things, because of coaching, I started reading self-development books. And my best friend, she's like, why don't you start a book club? And I'm like, okay. And I started a book club and it was all about financial empowerment. And within a month, I went from 4 members to around 50 members. And people, they're like, Tina, you're really good at whatever you say, like hits a chord every time you talk. And, they're like, you should be a coach. I'm like, me? you know and interestingly, like that it was like in April, May, I decided I'm going to go get my coaching credentials. I went ahead because I'm here a resident, I'm Canadian living in the UAE, so I had to change my residency status. So I became an entrepreneur, opened up my own company like Tina Saad coaching. And that has been my journey. I'm not looking back. I'm only looking forward. It's not easy. It's not easy. I haven't made my six-figure income yet or anything, but the transformation and success cannot be measured solely by how much money you're making. The amount of knowledge you acquire, you know, in the process. I recall I had this conversation. There's a guy called JT Fox uh, in the States, and I had a conversation with him. He's like, Tina, you're an action taker, but you need to develop your business acumen, which is very true. So being gentle with yourself in the process, getting the help you need, like a business coach. Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. You know, uh, immerse yourself with, other entrepreneurs, other businesswomen doing it. Learn from where they're going. Things like business processes and systems are new for me. I don't know. I still haven't gotten it 100% right. Automation, completely not there yet, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's nice. It's it's falling into doing what you're passionate about. So for me, coaching is something I'm passionate about. Another thing that I've learned about myself now in my entrepreneurship journey is I'm very good with people and I'm very good with connecting people. So now I'm connecting entrepreneurs or business people with investors and getting a commission on that. So I'm learning things about myself, I'm learning about my skills, I'm learning about what I can do, my potential, how much I can go, how far can I go. And that is so nice. That journey is really nice. What can I do? What's next?
Oh, I so know. I'm I'm actually also a coach, but I'm sort of just beginning and I'm in that get all the knowledge kind of phase, and it's really incredible. And what I've kind of realized, like my focus is burnt out moms, um, trying to help them teach them how to care for themselves better so that they can not be burnt out anymore. And what I'm realizing is what an incredible difference it makes when you start learning things, especially learning things about yourself and especially learning about things that you're passionate about. Those kind of things light you up and they change your entire mindset and they can take you from like struggling and feeling so stuck in life and feeling like you're drowning to this entire view of opportunity and possibility. Like the just the knowledge that you can change, you can grow, and there's so much out there for you to learn is such an incredibly eye-opening, beautiful like thing to experience. Um, and I've been through that. I have 3 kids with autism, so I'm a caretaker for them. And so for so long, I thought that it was impossible. And as a mom to like have a business and try to care for your kids, it's like there's so much of our culture and our society that's like, no, if you're a mom, you just get to be a mom, and that's all you get to do for the rest of forever, and you have to rely, on a spouse to care for you. But my husband's disabled, and so I was like, somehow I've got to figure this out. Somehow I have to learn how to take this thing that feels utterly impossible and turn it around and make it possible. And that's exactly what you did. Is you took your impossible circumstance of going, how do I care for my kids and fill my own cup and make sure that we have food to eat and a place to live and keep them safe and protected? How do I do that?
Exactly.
I can't do that working for somebody else. It just doesn't work. And there's,
Yeah.
it's nice to see that there are more and more companies who are more open to moms and motherhood, but still the general standard is not to be available for
No.
that.
No, absolutely. And like when I got fired, it was during a time where I had court cases, and I broke down several times at work, and they're like, Tina, you're not in a position to be here, kind of thing. And so, what I would say is each one of us has a unique story. Each one of us has a unique case, so don't compare yourself to somebody else. Don't compare yourself to what somebody else is doing and seems to be succeeding in. Her situation is much more different than yours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it's okay.
comparison will kill your energy in a heartbeat. Comparison is we're actually taught to compare. We're taught to be like, oh, your worth is only, as much as it is in comparison, but it's such a lie.
Yeah. And for me, even someone watching who's not an entrepreneur or not working and is just a housewife, I salute you. It's your choice. This is what you want to do. Sometimes I meet someone, I'm like, what do you do? She's like, I'm just a housewife. Don't, that word just, do not demean or, undervalue who you are. You're not, your value is not measured by what you're doing. It's a lot more than that. It's,
Well, and
you're
we have
enough.
to yes, you are enough. And we have to point out that, like, oh my gosh, being a housewife is so much work. Like let's
Exactly.
there's no just about it. It's the most demanding career that anyone could ever have. Like, okay, you're on call all night every night. Have fun with that. People are going to puke on you and spit on you, and like you get to clean up all of the messes, and they will scream at you for it. They will be angry at you for it.
Exactly.
And there's no more demanding career than motherhood. And so for any of us to be like, oh yeah, I'm just a mom, which I felt like that for so long. And it's like, no, it's actually like quite an accomplishment to keep humans alive.
Yeah,
They are hard to keep
exactly.
alive.
Exactly. And to raise them well, that they're good human beings. So yeah.
Oh yeah, they fight it. Mine are a handful sometimes, and it definitely feels like
Yeah.
being in the trenches. And then to go to be a mother, and then to say, you know what, I'm also like a human being who had passions and skills and dreams and desires before I became a mom. I don't have to get rid of all those. I don't have to let all those go. I can actually do both. I can be myself and be mom at the same time. So talk to us
Exactly.
about
And
yeah, talk to us about how you do that and how you've managed that over the years.
just before I got on the call with, like, we started recording, I told you I just came from a salsa class. So that is very important for me, because the transformation did not happen until I started to do what I love to do.
Yes.
Okay, that's when
Yes.
you align. So if anyone wants to know how do you align, do the things you like doing. That when they talk about vibrations, that's when you're gonna go, oh, cuckoo, like in a good way. But
Oh yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
like,
Absolutely.
so for me now, I'm a runner. I run as part of a running team here in the United Arab Emirates. I partake in competitions, marathons. I play tennis. I dance. I sing, and I, some you can anyone can ask, how do you manage? It's I have a saying. that I've read from, so it's not my own, but when you want something, you make time for it. If you don't, you make excuses.
Oh, it's
And
so true. So true.
you know what I'm saying? So anything you want, it's gonna come, you're gonna find time for it. And for me, sometimes dancing is 10 minutes, nothing more. So today when I went, it was like 1 hour. I said, and they're like, stay. I'm like, no, I have to go. I have a commitment. So you know how to manage your time very well. Like, I don't do everything on the list in one day. Running is like twice a week, tennis is like twice a week. But it's important to do that because you need the time. So today I had a really bad day in the morning. My son was not well. Something came up. I was crying a bit in the morning and I wasn't going to go to the dance class. I was feeling, and I was like, no, pick up yourself, get out and go, you know. And I went and I came back and look at me, it really it raises your vibration all over again.
It's so
It's
true.
really good.
So true. And what maybe we don't
It's
realize when we're kind of in the middle of that, like, I have no time, everything's taking over, I don't feel like I have any control, is when you do the things that light you up, then you're lit up, right? Then you have the energy and the patience and the bandwidth to deal with the rest of the things that get thrown at you in
yeah.
your day. But when you don't feed your soul with and give do those things that bring you energy, then when something goes wrong, your reactions are a lot worse, and then you feel bad for having bad reactions, and then it's just this like cycle that doesn't end. And so it has to start with you feeding your own soul, which doesn't mean go take a bubble bath necessarily if that's not something that like really brings you energy. It's doing the thing that lights you up.
And you work with moms who are burnt out, and I've experienced that. I've experienced fighting, my body, my own, I was not listening to what my body needs because I felt I need to get this done. I need to get this done. And then you freeze. You can't do anything. I knew I needed time off. I knew I needed, to relax, to unwind, but I wasn't allowing that to happen. And then you become, unproductive, period. So to me, putting this in my agenda is very essential to keep that productivity going, to keep the energy going, to lift me up. Like, I was crying in the morning, and I allowed that to happen. We need to do that. But we have things. I'm a mom, I have a responsibility, I have bills to pay, so yeah.
Well, and it's so interesting to look at that as we look at your course of your day and like how that's gone. Because I mean, goodness, we probably had a day like that a couple days ago. Mornings are always hard, right? Getting everyone out the door to school, and then someone woke up grumpy, and it affects everyone else. But you have to be responsible for where your energy is at. And if you are grumpy, and you know what? That was me this morning, actually. I was so grumpy. I didn't hear my alarm go off, and then I was late. And then I was like driving my kids to school all angry. And then I was like, okay, what can I do in this car ride home to change my energy? Because it's going to make for because when you wake up like that, you actually have a choice. It's like, do you want the rest of your day to be defined by this negative energy, or do you want to take a second and look at yourself and go, okay, what can I do to change this? What lifts me up? What lights me up? What will shift my energy and get rid of all this annoyance and this this gross energy that I've got going on here? What's gonna raise my vibe, right? And so then you take a minute and you do that thing. And for me, it was sitting in my car in silence, and because I missed my morning meditation because I was running late, which I take like 5, maybe 10 minutes. Like it's like very little, but to sit there in silence and just breathe like that helped me a lot to raise my energy and go, okay, I'm now better prepared for my day. And for you, you went dancing, which is amazing. And I can totally see how like the energy of the movement and the music and all of it combines to just lift you up out of whatever funk you're in. And so that's such a great lesson for anyone who's feeling, burnt out or down or whatnot in a certain, you know, especially in the mornings. Mornings always seem to to cause that, but you have the power to change that. Each of us does.
Absolutely.
We have the power to control where our energy's at. And if you can go through the rest of your day and change that vibe and have that high energy and that what really is, it's opening your heart and feeling gratitude. Because when you're stuck in that
Exactly.
gratitude, angry state, you get really bad. So then how do you open your heart? Because then it makes the rest of your day better.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm, like I said, I'm totally in the midst of all this learning and growth, and I'm loving it. And it's really, really, really beneficial. So talk to us about COVID. I love hearing when people say COVID was actually a gift, because we've got this whole, just the entire world is going, oh, we just finished this really awful time. COVID was so terrible and all these bad things happened. And it's like, yeah, there were bad parts to it. For me personally, COVID was one of the calmest, most peaceful times that we had in a decade. Like our lives finally were like, oh, I can like look up and breathe. So how did you find the sunshine in COVID when the rest of the world was so down?
How did I find the sunshine? With COVID and then the online, your whole world was this screen that you look into. And everyone was trying to how do you say, find a way to make a living. Like things were closed down. We had very strict lockdown over here. And so what it did was expose me to coaching. And the other thing was a lot of people were giving free stuff. So I started doing free art classes. I started doing free, personal training classes, so getting the movement I needed. And that kind of really made me realize how important it was. And that's why I said the beginning of that journey is really getting into the things that you enjoy doing, that you forgot about when you were a mom or whatever. So that, getting back into dance and personal training and, art. I've got my paintings somewhere here. So, I did quite a bit of work. So I'm like, hey, I'm finding myself again. I'm rediscovering who I am. Um, like I was lost for a very, very long time, to be honest with you. And I just had a message from a friend of mine who was my school friend. Like we were friends. She's like, Tina, I love that I see the old Tina. I see Tina, like the one I knew. And so, yeah, like
Yeah, I was just as you were talking, I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's a pattern here where we go to school and we're encouraged to find out who we are, discover our passions, right? You're in high school and it's like, which elective do you want to take? What do you want to do with your extra time? What extracurricular activities do you want to do? And then you go to college. I mean, maybe not all of us, but I went to college and it was like, okay, what do you want to learn in college? What do you want to do? What do you want? What do you want? And then it was like, oh, now I'm a mom and what I want doesn't really matter anymore. And we kind of come to this phase, and even if it's not a motherhood phase, it's a now I'm working and I'm stuck in this career and my whole life is about making money so I can survive, so that I can go make more money, so that I can survive, so that I can go, and it's this cycle. And there's this point, in our 20s and 30s where we start going, oh my gosh, I'm stuck. I don't know where I am. I don't know what happened to the 18,
exactly right.
19, 20-year-old me who was like, I want to do this, this, and this. How do I pursue those dreams? And then we just forgot about them. And so it's kind of funny. Today is Thursday, and I have a Burnt Out Moms Club group, and it's Throwback Thursday, but I changed it to be Throwback to Your Old Self. What did you used to want? What did you used to want to be when you grew up? What did you used to enjoy doing? And how can you start bringing those things back into your life now?
So yeah, that's what COVID did. It brought those things back into my life. And so as we were coming out of the lockdown, I realized these were keepers. They were never, and I'm a single mom at the moment, but now that some people will, oh, can we go out, or like, dating and things like this. Now I know I never want to lose myself again. So if ever there's a man to re-enter my life again, you know, it's very important for me to keep my identity, who I am, and for him to keep his, right? So it's no longer anything I compromise. That's really important for me. These are like non-negotiables.
Oh, I love that. And just along those lines, it occurs to me that a lot of us get married when we're young. I got married at 18, you know, and then it's like, you sort of you are no longer an I and you're a we, and it's like somehow you kind of tend to lose yourself in that too. Guys, I just wanted to pause here for 1 second to let you know about the awesome thing that I'm doing right now. I'm so excited to announce that I'm offering a custom song experience for a small number of people. This is your chance to take your story, your podcast, or your business even, and turn it into a incredible, timeless work that will bring back beautiful, loving emotions for decades to come. This is such a perfect gift for your spouse, for a newborn baby, or for a parent, and it's a really great way to embody your business or your podcast's mission. We're going to meet together several times and deep dive into the message and emotion you want to convey to make sure that you're getting something that you absolutely adore. A custom song is an incredible asset for advertising, for lifting team spirit, and for encapsulating family memories. If you're interested in a custom song, please send me an email at seekingsunshinepodcast@gmail.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about what it's like to be a coach and a mom. And how is that? And how do you balance those two things, and how do you find the sunshine when it's hard?
Um, you know, I got coached before I became a coach, so you understand the transformation. And I think one of the best things that coaching did for me is being gentle on myself, you know, and
Self-compassion. Yes.
yeah, that self-compassion, and self-compassion with my son. Actually, the coaching has helped me a lot with my communication, in terms of, um for instance, I know my son is hyper vigilant, like he worries about everything. So to me now, it's like, oh, what techniques can I use to make it, you know better for him, or to help him make better choices, like instead of being very worried about everything. You don't need, so I use those techniques with him as
Ooh,
well,
and I want
as
to
a
point
mom.
out, yeah, I was gonna say I want to point out how amazing it is that when you put that energy and effort into yourself, when you give yourself compassion and you give yourself love and you put time towards feeding your soul, you're a better parent. It's not selfish. You're not taking away from your loved ones. You're actually making yourself a better person to be around. You have the ability to teach
Exactly.
your kids these amazing tactics that have helped you grow, and now they can learn it even younger, which is so good to grow up with that knowledge instead of suddenly learning later on.
It's true, and he's followed in my footsteps. So, but, when I was still married, I had lost myself. I had gained a lot of weight, and my kids were both overweight. And well, I lost the weight, and then he followed suit, and he lost the weight. And I went back into sports and running and tennis, and now he's an amazing tennis player. So you can see,
Awesome.
like, the, when you do the right thing, your children, yeah, you tell them things, but they learn from what you do, not what you're saying. So by setting the kind of example you want them to be, by being that yourself, you know, you're doing that. So I remember listening to someone say, if you want to find the man of your dreams, be who you want to find, kind of thing, right? Kind of, so it's that idea. So you're be who you want your kids to be. And I didn't even do that consciously. I just became, and then I'm like, oh my God, he lost weight, and I'm into tennis. He's into tennis, and he's running with me now. And I'm like, oh, so they're picking up our habits. They pick up our habits, whether they're good or whether they're bad.
And
And they
that
pick that up.
includes, well, and that includes not just physical things that are good, but also the way we talk to ourselves and the way that we think.
Exactly. Exactly. So they're picking it up. Absolutely. And that's why I was talking to another coach, and she was telling me how she was projecting something to her children that she didn't want to. So it really makes you aware of what you're doing. It's conscious parenting. That's what happens.
Oh yeah,
Conscious parenting.
that's a great term. That's a
Yeah.
great term, conscious parenting, because so much, so I feel like a lot of us just like feel like we're being dragged through it. Like, oh wait, I have to feed them now. Oh wait, I have to do this now, and it's just, and so much of it just feels like a whirlwind, and then you're like, what did I even do? I don't remember. I didn't really do it. Yeah. So being mindful of like where you're at and what you're
Absolutely.
doing is so important. And I feel like the world is just starting to learn this, but it's like
Absolutely.
so important.
And there are times when you become really busy, and for me, it's been communicating that. So, like yesterday, I had to, be in a long meeting, and I said to him, "I'm gonna be in a long meeting. Are you okay with that?" You know, there's mom guilt. Absolutely. So we have to be very candid and very honest with that. Like, I'm still not in a place where I'm absolutely happy with the balance. No, because I'm new at the whole thing, new as an entrepreneur, new as a coach, new as so many different things. But I feel that communicating that and letting him know, and the time that I do spend with him, I try to make it quality time. Like, we go hiking together, we do things together, we play tennis. So yeah, I try my best, to
Well, and that's what's important. And as far as like balance goes, it's a teeter totter, right? And the whole point is just that when you notice that it has tilted to one side, then you go, okay, how do I tilt it back? And then you just sort of teeter back and forth, which makes a lot more sense if you can see me. But since we're just recording audio, I'm teeter tottering with my hands. But nothing's ever like a perfect balance. It's more of an overall picture, you know?
exactly.
Yeah. So talk to us about what kind of coaching you do, who your audience is, and how we can find you and all the things.
So I'm an empowerment coach. Um, I like to think that I help people, because for some reason men are also asking for my coaching, to find their voice, you know, and in any walk of life, to know that something, to find that strength within you to move forward. Okay, to understand what's so, like, let's say sharing my story, like what I did. And even as a coach, it doesn't mean that there's no longer any work for me to do on myself. So I heard the story of this man who lost his son, and he wrote a book, and apparently it's reached 70 million people. And I could feel that man's pain, right? Like, losing a child is the most difficult thing. But I also felt my pain when I was listening to his story. And I said, what has been holding you back, Tina, from sharing your story with the world? Like, and I realized it's the, I'm still holding on to the limiting beliefs that society has placed on me. that talking about this is going to be taboo. Who's going to listen to you? People are more likely to empathize with a man who or a parent who's lost a child than with a parent whose kid was raped, you know. So because people, it's too much to take, the idea of rape. It's too heavy, there's a lot involved. And I said, but do you realize, like, I had a client and she spoke to me about, um, her sister is a doctor, and the patients that come in, girls, little girls in our region of the world, with warts, genital warts, and things because of this, and I think that story and hearing her say this made me realize I need to overcome those limiting beliefs around why I shouldn't speak out and actually go forward with my story. Um, so, like
It's so
that's
as I've been doing all my research and reading in this coaching realm, I've been reading Brene Brown, and one of the things that she says is like vulnerability, which is what I'm seeing as you sharing your story and other people sharing theirs, is like we don't want anyone to see our vulnerableness, but that's the first thing that we want to see in other people, because that's what connects us to people. Is even if our pain is different than their pain, like you were saying, that's when you feel it. You can feel when somebody is really being open and raw and not guarded. And
exactly.
it's just what we all need to connect better.
Exactly. So if you say, what do? I like to help people find what's holding them back, wherever they want to move forward to. Why am I still stuck here? What am I telling myself? What am I believing? What story am I making in my head that's keeping me here? You know, um, I've done the work myself. It was very difficult, but I'm helping others. It doesn't, so it's very important. So I work with dentists, pharmacists, housewives, all sorts of people, and finding them doing something. So one of the housewives I work with, she wanted to start her own business. So now she's, opening up her baking business. So I'm like, yeah, go, go for it.
Awesome.
Find, yeah. So
And how fun to work with people. And I guess you have to, I don't know, that lights me up. I love talking to people, and that's what I've come to love really about this podcast, is hearing people's stories. Because people so need to be heard. Like we all need to be heard and feel that
yeah.
connection with other people. So how can we find you?
So I'm on Instagram, and it's nice because I'm doing a series of things now on financial empowerment. I'm inviting speakers. So I'm going to be doing some free webinars um, on financial literacy. What do you need to know in the financial world? There's some really nice, because I believe empowerment is a full circle. So if you're not financially empowered, you will struggle. I struggled because I had financial problems. I struggled very much.
Well, and I have to say that that's
So
one of those areas that like is so vulnerable that it's one of the least of the ones that we talk about. And so it's so important to, be able to be vulnerable in that area. Because I feel like there's some areas where it's like, oh, this is talked about. I can talk about this part of myself and this part of my story, but not that part. That part's really hard. Uh, like for me personally, like I've got 3 kids with autism and my husband's been disabled for a decade. And it's like I couldn't work. I was taking care of my 3 kids and my disabled husband because he couldn't take care of them because he was disabled. And so we lived in poverty for a really long time. And it was like that's the one part that I never ever talked about, because that's the always feels like the most shameful part, of anyone's story. So I love that you're talking about that. It's a very hidden, very vulnerable like piece to our society.
it's what's made me me, right? Like it's what is pushing me forward. It's what's um really like I mean, why did I go into financial empowerment? Because I hit rock bottom. I couldn't afford anything, right? And I realized that's important. Why do I go into personal empowerment and professional empowerment? So this lady who wanted to open a cake business, what's stopping you? So, like personal empowerment. Why are you in toxic relationships? What are you doing to yourself? What are what are they projecting? What are they mirroring to you? These are the things that you need to be working on. And I love working with people. These are all areas I've gone through and I want to support others with that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So tell us, you said we can find you on Instagram. Is it Tina Saad?
So yeah, it's Tina underscore Saad, my name there, and then underscore coaching.
Awesome.
So
Okay. So and anywhere else we can find you? Or is that like your
Facebook,
main
LinkedIn,
place? Okay, great.
and I'm working on my website. So as soon as I put my website, like my Instagram has my Linktree URL, so you can get in and you'll find everything there. And I'm trying to do a YouTube channel as well now. So not trying,
Awesome.
I'm going to be doing
You're
it.
doing
Yeah.
it. Yes. Awesome. That's amazing. I love
Yeah.
how I love how you've taken everything that you went through and you're using it to help other people.
Yes,
I
that's
think
the
it's
thing.
yeah, I think that's amazing. And teaching people how to be vulnerable and how to find themselves again. I love that so much. So, as we wrap up, any final like words of wisdom to share with us?
Wherever you're at the right place. Wherever you're at, believe that. And if you feel alone, just know that God is with you. And God hears and listens to everything we feel, we say, we hear, our thoughts. And just pray for that guidance. I teach a bit of manifesting as well. Now I'm going into that because I manifested everything I wanted to manifest in my life. And one of the things is faith, is having faith. And that's very, very important, moving forward. And yeah, like knowing that there's a reason why you're here today at this place, at this point. So instead of, you can either panic and worry about it, or you can listen and understand what are the lessons here. I'm here because, okay. And only when you learn the lesson can you move forward. So this is
Yeah.
my piece of advice to everyone. Listen to why you're where you're at. Ask yourself. So, like, let's say in business, there were times where things were not moving, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to change? When I was overweight and I wanted to lose weight, what are the habits that I need to let go of? What are the new habits I need to make? So listen, understand that you're there for a reason. You're here at this point for a reason. I met a guy like in June. I liked him a lot, but it was a big lesson for me. And instead of like getting all crying and over, I'm like, what am I learning? What is he teaching me? And for me, that his lesson was I still needed work on my self-worth, you
Self
know.
self-worth is so important and it's one of those ones that takes a really
And
long time.
believe you me, since June, I've been able to pick up the red flags like this. I was like, no more. I deserve better. No, thank you. Kind
Awesome.
of thing.
I love that. Well, thank you so so much for coming on today. This has
Thank
been
you so
such a
much.
lovely conversation and that I feel like we've just had so much amazing information in here.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Well,
And
I'm excited
I'd
to
love to
have
see everyone, especially
yes.
on those webinars, because I'm really going to be excited about them. So yeah,
Yeah, they're
I'll
gonna be
know something.
amazing.
Yeah, they're going to be amazing. And they're free. They're there for everyone to
Awesome.
learn.
Well,
So
that's
yeah.
so fantastic. I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to go follow you, and I'm sure everyone else is going to come follow you too. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye. Thank you so much, Tina, for coming on this episode. I loved hearing from you. I loved hearing about her story and everything that she's been through and how her journey has progressed and how she's used everything to just bring so much joy to the world. So here are my very favorite takeaways. Number 1, at the end of the day, you decide what voice you're going to let in and what decision you're going to make. Number 2, each one of us has a unique story. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Number 3, the transformation did not happen until I started to do what I love to do. Number 4, when you want something, you make time for it. When you don't, you make excuses. Number 5, when you do the things that light you up, then you're lit up. Then you have the energy and the patience and the bandwidth to deal with the rest of the things that get thrown at you in your day. But when you don't feed your soul and do those things that bring you energy, then when something goes wrong, your reactions are a lot worse. And it's just a cycle that doesn't end. It has to start with you feeding your own soul. Number 6, you have to be responsible for where your energy is at. Number 7, now I know I never want to lose myself again. Number 8, when you put that energy and effort into yourself, when you give yourself compassion and you give yourself love and you put that time towards feeding your soul, you're a better parent. It's not selfish. You're not taking away from your loved ones. You're actually making yourself a better person to be around. And number 9, wherever you're at the right place. Wherever you're at, believe that. Make sure you go follow Tina on Instagram and go listen to all of her amazing stuff. You can find her at Tina_Saad_coaching. You can also find her on Facebook and LinkedIn, and just follow her because she's amazing. She's got so much beautiful inspiration to share with the world. You can also go follow me. If you haven't followed me yet, I have shared these awesome quotes from Tina and from our other guests all over my social media pages, plus clips from my album and other awesome things. My website is KaraleighGarrison.com, and you can find things that I'm doing there, as well as more information about how to have a custom song from me, which is a really cool opportunity, so don't miss out on that. So I hope that you guys have a super incredible day. Enjoy the sunshine and the beauty of the summer. It's a really gorgeous time of year to be alive and to be enjoying the world. So go enjoy everything that is around you, and I hope you have a beautiful day. And I'm going to leave you with a song.